What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, I'm going to be covering dynamic creatives and how you can use them to execute creative tests more efficiently. Now, before we hop into the rest of the video, I wanted to announce that I'm going to be doing a 30-minute consulting call giveaway to one lucky winner. All you have to do to enter is subscribe, like this video, and comment hashtag ecomtide, ECOMTIDE. I will announce the winner in the next video. Again, all you need to do is be subscribed, like this video, and comment hashtag ecomtide.
Most of the time when these people be talking, I don't even hear them.
So as you can see, we're inside one of my ad accounts. Unfortunately, this one is disabled, so don't be alarmed if you see any notifications that say that it's disabled. I already know that. So before we hop into this sample campaign that I created, I wanted to first go over what a dynamic creative is versus a regular ad creative. So when you set up a campaign and you set up your ad sets at the ad level, usually you create one ad, and that one ad has a post ID associated with it. And traditionally, when you want to split test more than one ad, you need to create 2 or 3 that have their own individual unique post IDs. Now, the difference with the dynamic creative is with one campaign and one ad set and one core ad, you can have multiple variations of one main ad creative and actually split test dozens of different unique post IDs in one creative test. This way you can save a lot of time and a lot of money testing multiple creatives instead of having to wait for a longer time period in testing those individual post IDs. So here's the sample campaign that I went ahead and set up. This is a regular conversion campaign, but with a little bit of a twist to your traditional cold testing interest-based ad set. So as you can see, I optimized for conversions at the campaign level. Now, the reason why I named it top 5 is because we're going to be taking the top 3 to 5 interests that were already performing at the cold test level or for our lookalikes, and we're going to stack all of them together in a higher budgeted ad set in order for these dynamic creatives to get enough spend towards each unique creative. Now, obviously, you're gonna wanna optimize for conversions. You're gonna wanna put the budget a little bit higher than what you normally would have it as, because you're pretty confident that these ad sets are going to do well, since you are already going to be taking 3 to 5 ad sets that were already performing very well with the original creative. Now, everything else you're going to keep pretty similar, same locations, ages. Your detailed targeting, you're going to do this based off of the interest that we're performing. Let's say I went ahead and ran a kid's toy and these were the best performing interests. This is how I would lay it out, right? So I have these 5 interests stacked because they did really well, and I'm still excluding those interests that I don't want my ads to be exposed to. This is what it is going to appear as, right? Create an ad, you're gonna plug in your creative, your image or your video, you're gonna put in your text headline, maybe a description, your URL, and you're gonna select your call to action button. Now, the problem with this is that we can only have one post ID and we can only test this one variation of an ad creative. And if we wanted to split test maybe 3, 4, or 5 different variations, even if it just meant not having a description or having a slightly different headline or a slightly altered thumbnail, it would take a lot of time to set all of that up. Now, with dynamic creative testing, you can come over to the ad set level and you can go right here to where it says dynamic creative. You can turn this on, and what's going to happen is have the option of creating multiple variations of things like your main ad copy text, your headline, your thumbnails, your video or image creatives, things like that. So as you can see here, it actually gives us the option to select additional videos or additional images, create slideshows, things like that that you normally wouldn't be able to do if you already had an image or a video in there for a traditional ad. What we can also do with our creative is we can split test different primary text, different headlines, descriptions, and things of that nature. So as you can see here, we have 2 different primary texts that are both going to be shown almost as ad sets in a CBO, where Facebook will determine which ad set is performing best, and they will show that more to your target market. So same thing goes with dynamic creatives, only it's going to show the best creative to a majority of your target market, depending on its existing performance with some of the other customers in that market. So when you go ahead and set this up, you're able to actually view multiple variations of this ad. If I wanted to see what it looks like with the different primary text, I can go here and I can click the other one that we created and see how that looks aesthetic. Now, while it is important to know what it looks like aesthetically, it's even more important to know what metrics are brought in for each variation of the creative. Now, how do we go ahead and do that? We're actually gonna wanna go to the ad level and we're gonna wanna break it down, but we're not gonna break it down by things like country or placement. We're gonna break down by variation. Now, as you can see, I didn't actually go ahead and run this. So if I go to breakdown, there isn't going to be that fourth section that's gonna say by variation or something along the lines of that nature. So if you were to go ahead and execute a dynamic creative and go ahead and publish it, you'd be able to come to the breakdown, go down to this fourth row, and that would allow you to break it down by multiple variations. And through those variations, you can isolate the exact post ID that you want and that perform the best. And now the benefit of doing this is that, again, you can split test 2 headlines, 2 descriptions, 2 videos, maybe throw in an image, maybe split test a different URL to a landing page at a different price point, which I wouldn't recommend. Now that you can go into multiple different post IDs just from making this one dynamic create, you can test 20, 30, maybe even 40 variations of the same style of ad, but instead of having to create 40 different ads, you're only creating one dynamic creative. Now, the one con to this is that you cannot attach the overall post ID for one creative to multiple ad sets. So it's not efficient for actually testing a product because you can only have it associated with one campaign and one ad set due to the fact that there's a bunch of different post IDs within that one dynamic creative. But obviously the pros are that you're able to test way more variations in a much shorter amount of time and without having to spend nearly as much as you would if you were to make all of those post IDs individually and split test them at different times. So just to put into perspective, if you usually split test 2 video creatives per week, after a month, you'd split test 8 different video creatives. Now with a dynamic creative test, you can split test those same 2 videos, but have different variations of other videos or other texts or things of that nature to where you're testing 8 every single time that you do a creative test. Now that's gonna save you 3 weeks. It's probably gonna save you a lot of money and of course a lot of time in testing those different creative variations. So I hope this video made a lot of sense and you have a little bit more clarity on how dynamic creative tests work and how efficient they actually are when it comes to testing different creatives. And if you haven't already entered into the giveaway, just remember to subscribe, leave a thumbs up on this video, and comment the word #ecomtide down below. And as always, if anything was unclear in this video or you have any additional questions or topics that you want me to cover in future videos, feel free to leave that in the comments down below as well. And other than that, I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.